This is an hour with the Wolfpack, and this is a review on The Sopranos, Season 1, Episode 2. And the episode is called 46 Long. And today we're here with Mike, JD, and Fauna. And Mike, what was your review on it?
The show starts out, having the one most thing that a lot of people go through is family life. It's starting to have to do with your job, dealing with your family, dealing with your friends, dealing with your relatives. And Tony Soprano, he's not, he's a gangster, but he still has to deal with his wife, still has to deal with his sons, still has to deal with his daughter, still have to do with his mother. And, my thoughts are his mother is the aspect of every matriarchal woman you have in your life. This void you have trying to please them and can never please them because ultimately they're unhappy themselves and are immune to anybody else being happy or seeing that.
So the episode's basically about what?
The episode was
put his mom in an old folks home.
Well, no, he tried to give his mom the benefit of the doubt, but she was incompetent of doing that, and in the end, he had to do what he ultimately thought to do, but she was fighting it, and.
But also at the same time, the episode's about his nephew
Christopher Moltisanti
trying to pretty much move up in the mob. But him and his cronies, well, I guess the episode portrays he's trying to move up and he fucks up, and then he has an epiphany at the end, not do it and be part of the mob. So then his friend doesn't.
No, he was
screws over it.
He was actually following the orders. He got what Tony Soprano was saying. That was, I'll let you get past, boosting that truck the first time. That's just how it goes. But the next time you do it, there's going to be consequences.
Yeah, because the show opens up with some guy talking about how the mob's dead and there's no respect and it's just all ran wrong. I think that's what's cool about the episode, that it opens up like that, then it kind of explains and goes into two different scenarios about what they open up the scene with. So.
Well, also in the first episode, Pussy talks about how the younger crowd of
that doesn't matter, man.
Future gangsters
are
either crazy or on drugs, and his friend is obviously doing too many drugs and thinking, what, fuck it, I don't give a fuck about this structure here, I gotta think about myself, but let's boost another truck. And then what's he do? He goes and gets people that can't handle themselves. And what happens? The gun goes off, which in real life can never happen because the guns don't go off like that. But that's another just Hollywood thing.
So JD, what do you think about it?
Well, I agree with you guys are saying. This episode's dealing with a lot of things.
What is your take? Because you haven't really watched the show too much, right?
My take, it's interesting. It touches on a lot of things that I feel like you will be surprised that if a mobster would have the same problems as a regular person, dealing with family and business, and obviously he's doing it. He's not going your regular route, getting a real job, but it's still the same amount of stress, or maybe more.
Yeah, because he's the general manager. He has to deal with all these all his workers. doing certain things.
I thought it was quite interesting seeing that even though they're all, a mob, and they have a hierarchy, they all have regular businesses too. Like Pussy, he has the chop shop, auto place. The other guy has the strip club. They're all just doing other jobs and being part of the mafia at the same time, which is kind of interesting to think about, and also think about in your neighborhood. Maybe that is an actual mob hangout that they do business in and run. Kind of interesting in that aspect too.
True.
I think does the show make you feel like you're part of like the mafia? And do you feel like does the show make you feel like kind of hyped?
Hyped?
Yeah, like do you feel like after watching it, like you feel like, I don't know, like part of the mob or something?
Like I'm gonna go about life being like not let anybody disrespect me or just...
Yeah, like does it
it makes me feel like after I got my speeding ticket, I could just say, fuck the cop. I don't really care, it's money. Like I'm sure the mobster, since they have a lot of money, to him it wouldn't be shit. So I feel like, it makes me feel like, why am I... Not that I'm taking shit from people, but it makes me feel like more confident about how I feel, how it should be, where it's like respect and just unity. And but like with the grandma, I feel like she's battling with like not being herself. Like she's like, for some reason, I don't know, I didn't feel like she told us why she's depressed or why she's the way she is. Or maybe because she's getting old or she lost her husband. I don't know, but something that's happened to her that makes her not be herself, which is what a lot of people have that problem, just being themselves.
Yeah, I think I don't know, a lot of the characters portray like realistic people in the real world, but they're it's portrayed in a different.
So you got like three aspects of the way humans are. You got the people grinding to the top, the people in the middle, and then the people on the top, and their views of the world are all different, but still the same in a way. Christopher had to give the money over to Tony, and Tony was like, well, I'll work it out with Junior, but he also stole Christopher's money too.
I had to make him learn a lesson.
So I feel like, in a way, like when the head honcho, Tony Soprano, let him go, which I didn't think he was, at least to that idiot that went against what's his name? The kid? Pussy or Posse or... I don't know.
Pussy?
Yeah. I didn't think he was going to get killed, but I knew he would get maybe reprimanded, but the way that Tony handled it, I feel like that's how managers in the real world should, and with real jobs, I guess, quote unquote, should handle things like that, where it's like, yeah, you made a mistake, we're all human, but, you're going to learn from it. And he made him learn from it by taking it back.
Versus just like firing him.
Yeah, or killing him. Which is what a boss would do in the real world.
Well, and also, Junior was upset about getting the truck stolen because he gets paid off by the trucking company, so the trucking company doesn't get their truck stolen. But Junior's still going to keep collecting, the money from the trucking company, and on top of it, he's going to get restitution. It's amazing they just worked it out instead of, killing each other. They're just like, well, alright, give me some money, and it's all good now, so...
I don't know if they can, because they're part of the same mob, though.
No, Junior Soprano has his own crew.
Yeah, but they're still in the same. They're all
Tony Soprano has his crew. And
but then there's what's the other guy who's...
He's the main boss.
Yeah, but they work for that guy.
Yeah, they're all captains. And then he's the...
Yeah, so you couldn't really just go kill Tony Soprano.
No, but I'm saying that they're all working it out with compensation, and
but that's also what the episode brought up too, is how like back in the day they could just go talk about it. Now they need like some guy, because people are getting too heated. They need like the boss. It's like basically the managers can't work it out with each other, so then they need the general manager to work it out.
But you said like back in the day it wasn't like that, or
No, that's what they're talking about. Back in the day, the managers could just go work it out and then move on.
do you feel like they can't do that no more because everything's so discontrolled, or why?
Well, it's also like what they're talking about, how everyone's going to jail and stuff, and everyone's getting scared. So no one's loyal anymore, and so there's no, like that's what it was about. The mob was all about being loyal, and now it's not.
Every man for themselves, in a way.
Yeah, so that's what it's kind of like.
Because of money and drugs and greed, or was that money and drugs were still?
I think it's
back
just
then?
fear.
Oh,
I think it's just that fear. So.
But you also need the mob in a way, you know. It would be nice to go down instead of having to call the cops, you know. You can just go work it out. some
I hate
other
my
way.
neighbors fucking with me.
Yeah, can you go talk to them for me? And I owe you something, you know.
So it's like civilian protection in a way, other than
Well, that's
cops.
the other thing, though. It's like why we're so messed up a society that, you know, we used to have our tribes. We pretty much had our own mobs, or the mobs were just tribes. You know, we didn't have like someone being our parent, and so we would go handle like our own situations. That's kind of like what these mob people are representing, just representing tribes. And there's all these other people outside of there that don't have any tribes, and like nomads.
Well, I feel that's how it is in America. We're all just tribes of like your immediate family, your significant other, and that's it. Like, no one even knows their neighbors anymore, you know, or care to get along with them, or you know, you might even hate your neighbors, you know. And those are the people you live like 500 feet away from.
You don't even know.
You don't even know them. You don't know. You don't talk to them. You don't say hi to them. You know. Kind of.
But why do you think we lost that? Why? Because people are scared, or people are just assholes?
I just think the values of people rebelled against basically their parents. You know, like our generation's parents, their parents had like somewhat of a code in a way. You know, be nice to your neighbors, say hello to them. You know, have kids. You know. That's what you did. Now, you know, in the next generation, it was like, fuck that, fuck my parents. My parents are assholes. They told me what to do all the time, blah, blah, blah.
But that's also there's no parent structure to begin with.
There's no respect.
Well,
Our parents had parents, and they were married.
Yeah,
for
they
X
had
amount of years.
2 parents.
And
A
now
lot
in our
of them have 2
generation,
parents.
there's no parents.
Or they're fucking divorced. Like,
Well,
there's
that's
so
what it
much
is. There's
divorce.
no parents.
And that's very traumatic for any
See, but
kid.
I thought watching it, because I'm like looking at stuff about health, like what they're showing subconsciously, and I noticed that like the whole show, they're always eating like the GMO foods. And if
Pill
you think,
popping.
well, I mean the drugs, but just even beyond that, they're just eating like drinking sodas, just eating like cereal, just like eating like the typical what Americans eat.
Lots of pasta.
But then you see like pretty much, I mean if you look at like in the food conscious level, that they're eating all these genetically modified stuff. The show takes place like in the 90s or 80s.
No,
90s.
1999.
Yeah, 1990 to 2000. So that's when all the GMOs get introduced, and then you see pretty much how everyone's acting really non-loyal.
Were they like?
And that's what a lot of the GMOs do. They mess up your brain. You can't like control yourself.
Were they talking shit about like Starbucks when they went in the coffee shop? Those 2 guys.
Basically, yeah, it was a metaphor how Starbucks is this big chain and
And they just stole everyone's traditions, so
ideas, you know.
and then corporatized it.
They corporatized it.
So they corporatized and killed it.
Well, you know, just lose the meaning of
Well, I
it.
think too, it's like another subconscious thing is talking about in the show, just how there's no culture.
Well,
there's
you
no
know,
tribe anymore.
a person at a coffee shop was like a trained you know, it was
Barista?
barista, but now anybody's a barista, you know.
And then it talks about how the baristas, gay guys that boost cars, and then they sell you coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, so
So
that's
then-
like interesting.
And there's like the irony, like the weirdness of all that too.
Well, speaking of that, what I've started noticing is that like we lost our respect for people's traits, whether it be high or not. Like back in the day, like Mike said, you had a barista and you said, you know, he wouldn't go and rat people out to get people's cars stolen. So I mean, in a way, it's like we lost that part of life where like you respected anybody that did anything, and you wouldn't try to put somebody down based on what the system or Babylon, whatever you want to call it, and be like, oh, well, that's not,
Well, that's the
not
other.
up to standards. And it's like back then, like Mike said, you know, you respected the guy that made your coffee because not only that, but you had to trust him.
Well, he was using like a master coffee maker though, or something. You know, like everyone had their trade.
Yeah, and not only that, like also like people that cut hair back then, the person that cut your hair, you had to trust them because back then they would shave you and they had a knife, so you had to trust your barber. And then nowadays that's lost. You don't respect the barber. You're like, oh, this guy doesn't. He's just cutting hair, and it's like I feel like that was lost too much.
Well, I was in the beach community today of San Diego, and I realized I was going there, and there's like all these older homes that have been there since like the 50s or the 60s, and they're single family homes, right, with big backyards. And then you move over a couple homes, and you see where the city said it's okay to have 3 homes on this property now. And so that one home now has a garage that has like a thing on top of it that has 2 units, and there's no open area, and everybody's just stuffed in like in one little dense area now. And there's no children, you know. There's no kids anymore. There's no kids in this area. There's just adults hanging out, work gone during the day, and come home at night and get drunk and be promiscuous, and then get up the next day and go to work. There's no kids anymore. And I was reading the statistics how in America, whites that are not Hispanics are having less kids now. Overall, everywhere in the world, people are having less kids, and now are putting off, you know, having kids. It's kind of amazing. You're kind of seeing that right now. There's not kids fucking running around.
But do you
the
feel like
streets.
there's not a lot of kids because people are scared or can't afford them, or know that if they have them, it's just they're gonna get divorced anyway, so might as well not have them?
Well, one is that the, you know, population control is making it harder. Well, they have options now. You can get an abortion. You have condoms. You have the pill. you
I
know.
think I just really think it's no family structure. Because you think about like our generation, I didn't really know too many people that have parents, like 2 parents, and they're happily married.
like it's a rare thing.
Like I know people that have 2 parents, but I don't think they're really happy, but they're still together. But just like from that generation, our parents' generation, at least they were married or had some type of family structure. And I think that's just what it is. It's just like you can see through generations that now that they don't have that structure, now no one wants kids 'cause no one has that belief system anymore. It's just like if you have a kid, like shit, I'm gonna have to like take care of that kid by myself.
Well, it's like Tony Sopranos dealing with that. He ultimately hates his mother, but he's also fighting. It's like that's not right to hate your own mother. You know, that's the new age philosophy now. It's saying that no, it's okay to hate your mother. You know, and don't love her. And he's all like, well, no, I gotta stay traditional. I gotta love my mother no matter what. You
Even
know?
if he doesn't like her.
Well, she's the main reason he's having these panic attacks. You know, he's trying to give her things, you know, to make her happy, and she keeps rejecting it. And it's also a metaphor that, you know, she's just really just unhappy. I mean,
So then he's also talking then how in the show then how psychology is just corrupting people's minds to
yeah,
basically lose your tradition beliefs.
Is that why he stormed down? Was like, I'm not coming back.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, pretty much in this episode, yeah. But
So
that's the thing. It's like that's the system. You know, they're trying to they have this person with this degree thinking they know how people think and what's right and what's wrong.
Because she's like, she's educated, so we have to assume that she knows what she's saying.
Crazy thing is, you know, those people in that field are fucking nuts to begin with. They're not, none of them are perfect. They got their demons.
But I feel like it becomes like, in a way, like, the reason why things will change is because people voice that opinion and feel that way, but then are still hypocrites and go, oh, well, you gotta do that or else society's not gonna look at you as like you're doing something that's like whatever. Because the one thing that doesn't bother me, but I just don't understand why people go like, oh, that's not a real job or whatever. And it's like, well, you're saying that because you're living in that, in what they're telling you, because you shouldn't say that. I mean, I wouldn't say it to anybody, whether it be a barista or somebody flipping burgers or somebody cleaning restrooms or somebody. To me, it's like, do whatever the hell you want to do, and then just do it because you love it. Because for me, it's like people get ripped off because if I go to a lawyer that I actually need help because something happened to me and I need to hire a lawyer. If that lawyer just did it because the parents peer pressured him, or he felt like I need to do a real job, quote unquote, which is society tells me is be a lawyer, then I get the short end of the stick because now I end up with this guy that doesn't even have a passion for his job.
You get a good product.
Yeah, and everybody gets screwed over. That's why we have bad teachers, bad everything, and that's what it bothers me.
That's what I was thinking about today, though. But as far as like, if money was free. Like, I was thinking, like, well, okay, why can't everybody think be free? And I hear that the fear of it is that people will be lazy and not do jobs. But then I was thinking about it, I was like, well, that's not really true, because there's people that like doing certain things. And I was thinking, like, there's something like you like to drive. And at the moment, like, I train dogs or whatever. But, like, for me, really what I want to do is do art. And then there's 7 billion people, and people have pick passions, what they want to do. And so there's probably somebody that just likes clean toilets. And people think, oh, that's crazy, but some people just are very into helping people, and that's the way they help.
And like
people.
you said, if there was no pay and then you just got to do whatever you wanted, or whether there was pay but everybody got paid the same no matter what you did, then every time I went to the restroom, I would have a clean toilet, because this guy wouldn't feel ashamed of like, oh, well, people are gonna tell me that this is not a real job, and then I don't want to do it no more, but I'm actually really good at it. Yeah. And that's when it irks me when people just say real job. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, what are you talking about? It's a job. I'm getting paid for it. Maybe not as much. You could say it's not a real job because you're not making over 100K, but it just doesn't make any sense to me when they throw that word out.
That's why there's no reason why you can't have everything you want and still have this whole structure working the way it works. No one would feel shitty about what they're doing, and everyone does the jobs anyways.
Yeah.
Well, also the metaphor for the Sopranos is they're doing, you know, illegal activity and they're making lots of money and they're still looked down on, you know. But like you said, JD, a lawyer who steals your money, or a doctor who, you know, doesn't really cure anything, or a psychiatrist who's just, you know, making you,
worse.
You know. No, well, psychiatry in its essence is to keep you, profitable in a way in America. So, if they can give you some form of tools to keep you working, keep you doing your job, you know, instead of them saying, hey, you know what, you really just have to quit your job.
Oh, they won't ever say that.
No, they're going to say, this is how you need to cope with people around you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's just keeping you more, you know, built up.
Keeping the system, like keeping what was that video, Human Farm?
I mean, don't get me wrong, you know, some people are molested or raped and stuff, and they have to deal with that, you know, aspect of stuff. But
that's the same thing, man.
That's good psychology right there. But most people go to psychology because they just literally can't get, you know, to grips that they have to, like, let go of their mother and father issues and move on, you know, just let go, move on.
Yeah. Or any problem, just move on. I think, yeah, you're right. They're too scared to move on. Like, if you hate your job, then move on. If you hate your parents, then move on. If you hate this, then move on. But people, I guess, can't let go.
Well, people are trying to please, and who are we always trying to please? We're trying to please our parents. Deep down, we're always trying to make them, love us and care about us more.
No, you don't have parents who are you pleasing.
Yeah. And then on top of it, our parents are crazy and don't see the great effort you're doing. Like, look at all Tony Soprano is doing for his mom. And his mom is like, you want to put me in a nursing home. And no, he's putting her in the best retirement community in New Jersey. Literally the best. And that's not good enough for her,
And that makes him feel bad because then he feels like he's not doing a good job.
Yeah, then his wife, is playing this whole in a woman's way too. You can come live with us, Mom. But she knows by saying that, the mom's not going to come and live with her. She knows that. But she's going to say it just to cover her back. So she doesn't look like a total...
And then in a way, it kind of shows you how... If you get too consumed by it, then it starts becoming a problem for your own relationship. Like your parents cause problems with your own relationship with your own woman.
Yeah.
Because it goes back to like a bunch of movies being made about how like nobody likes the parents of the other couple or whatever.
Well, but that's the thing that his wife is. She knows like who her husband is, and that's the thing. Like they have a real relationship where they can, because they don't have to talk about that. It's but they know what it is. So, but she has to play that role of the mother. But yeah, it's the mother playing the role to the mother. But being a good wife. But yeah, I don't know. I think the show in itself has a lot of like subconscious things. If you really think about.
But
it's more than what it is.
But isn't it interesting how we could talk about it for hours in just one show of how many things it just hits in one show? But you watch it for an hour and then you maybe get like 2 things out of it.
Well, yeah. Well, that's with a lot of stuff. It's like you can watch a lot of these things, movies, shows. You can read a book and stuff, and it's just how much you really want to dissect it. It's how much you'll get out of it. Like a lot of people just watch it and just watch the next show. And they're just watching character development, but no one's really watching what's going on, but in a subconscious way that's being implanted in everyone's brain.
Yeah, and then it questions like, what am I really watching and what are they really showing me?
Yeah, exactly. And then that's how the key thing about advertisement is that they showed a lot of advertisement, and they're like, I saw like Budweiser, or no, it's Miller Lite. There's just like, yeah, there's a lot of different companies, and the crazy thing in these shows is that they get paid by these companies to show that information, and they get stuck in your brain at subconscious level.
So you think it's like a package, like the commercials go with the episode, or it's just coincidence?
No, it's. I read that
part of the game.
I read that all movies, shows, and all it's just what they're made for is just advertisement. It's a subconscious like brainwash. Yeah. So that's why they have it, because in theory it's like, well, if you're really just making a show. And even though how realistic it is, you shouldn't really have an actual product. I mean, it can be like a soda, it just can't be Coke or something, or Pepsi. Because then that's just like brainwashing you to drink Pepsi. So
yeah, it's true, like American Idol, when they have...
linking.
Yeah, when American Idol sponsors, like Coca-Cola sponsors it, so it's all you see.
Yeah, so there's just a lot of stuff going on, and I think the average person doesn't really consciously think about what they're watching.
It is quite amazing, this show was shot in 1999 and they don't even have cell phones. They don't have access to the internet. They have to call each other on payphones or track people down.
Yeah, that's interesting too, looking at it. Because if you think about it...
They're talking about DVD players.
Yeah, and we're looking at them like, dude, you're excited about a DVD player?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when DVD players came out, the things were like $300. The thing was bulky as, hell.
And it would be interesting seeing how, like, if you had kids and those kids of your kids watch this show, what would be their take on it or their perspective?
And it's only been, 10 years?
Yeah.
1999. No, it's been over 15 years.
They won't even know what a DVD player is. Okay, what the hell is that?
16 years.
See, the other weird thing is, would they even watch these shows?
True.
And are all these shows just like how, like, like your... like my grandma used to watch her old shows, like I Love Lucy and shit.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't know. Like, some of them seem kind of cool, but
I would watch I Love Lucy because they came on syndication on Fox 11.
yeah, but isn't it a trip? It's just like you look at that and it's like a different energy or format.
It just seems to me like a different world. I'm like,
yeah.
like to me, I feel like if I lived in that time, it'd be black and white. I'd be watching black and white. Like I would, my eyes would just see black and white because that's how I see it in TV. I don't know, it's weird.
But do you feel like that much time has really passed? But do you think time actually passes, or they just evolve technology and things, and then make you feel older, but you're just really
from
not old?
From what I heard, it's like every history repeats itself. So now that I'm getting older and I'm seeing different eras, it's kind of like makes sense now. Before I didn't understand it, but now it makes more sense.
I just think it's awesome not having this device stick to you where people can get a hold of you at any goddamn thing. You have like freedom to like just be in the moment, you know? Like not worrying about somebody calling you. You gotta like, oh, they're not home. I guess I'll just ring them later, you know? Or where does he hang out, you know? Or maybe he's there, you know? Like maybe he's at the titty club, you know, for Tony Sopranos. So they call it the titty club. Is Tony there?
So you think we're too accessible now?
We're like super slaves, and for our jobs, it's very convenient for them to like literally harass you when you're not at work now. They can call you at any fucking moment and bother you,
or even text you.
Yeah.
Or even go on your Facebook and find out what you really did.
Email you, or fuck, all kinds of
Yeah,
shit.
versus like if they just called your house and they just said you're out or weren't home.
And then how are they gonna find you? There's no tracking device.
Yeah, you have no reason not to get back to your employer who's not even paying you at that
Speaking
time.
of that though, do you think like what also killed the mob, speaking of this show, like was technology?
The mob's not dead, JD. The mob is
But I mean that era of the mob, while we were talking about like the golden era, do you think it was
like
dead because of technology?
No, the 70s and 80s?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because then, like, you think about back then, they had to go meet and talk to each other.
No phone.
And face to face. And you think, yeah, as technology came, it was just like, people were just doing shit instantly. And so, like, yeah, if you're thinking about the mob, you could have, like, 20 Christophers doing all sorts of crazy shit instantaneously because they're all connected to each other, robbing all these trucks. And then you got, like, 20 times more headache versus just, him doing it once.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
because you actually did have those boss meetings where everybody comes and eats and talk about it, opposed to being on the phone. Which I mean, yeah, you can Skype everybody, but I mean,
yeah. Well, also it shows everybody has their hand out. The trucking company is tipping off the mobsters about, hey, this is a good load. You should go, give me $500.
True.
So there's just showing you there's no loyalty all around anymore.
So it's like an endless cycle of no loyalty. Then.
I mean, the mob is there to do that. I mean, it's all bullshit, It's the city's bullshit.
Hey.
And we're just slaves in our box,
Yeah,
we have freedoms.
But I feel like, is that what like most of shows try to touch on? Because the only thing I could think of with trucking, it's like the Fast and Furious, which they do the same thing. They get tipped off and then they get the good loads.
Well, Fast and Furious is
what about the other idea that they show to you in shows and make you believe that it's just in a TV show, but it's really going down?
Oh, you get caught up without thinking that, since it's a TV show, it's fake, but you don't think about it being real.
That's a lot of stuff that I watch where they say, like, all the stuff that's happening as far as, like, the government taking over and all this, they'll put it in the movies. That way, when they do it the following year, 5-10 years down the road, people's like, oh, I saw that in a movie, it's fake.
So you're okay with it because you've already seen it.
Because they already subconsciously told you that, oh, it's fantasy, it's not real.
Like Inception, put an idea in your head,
Yeah, it's just like that, so...
Yeah,
but that's the thing about being conscious, and I feel like eating right and having your thoughts clean, because you can literally go through life just one high after another, if it's TV shows or movies or food, and just never really understand what you just ingested.
And did you notice how like that guy Pussy or whatever his name is,
Bop and Sarah, Pussy Bop and Sarah.
What?
That's his name, Pussy Bop and Sarah.
Pussy Pop and Sarah. You just notice how, like, in the beginning, how he's, like, pumping iron? Like, he seems like he's the only one in shape.
That's Christopher.
Oh, well, Christopher.
Christopher's the young guy.
Yeah, I remember how they both got in trouble because of that guy trying to steal, being selfish and trying to steal the load when they told him not to.
Yeah.
Like, that guy seems like he has a good conscience. And then also, it's funny how he was, like, lifting a weight while they were watching the show, which means he's probably fit. He's probably thinking straight because he doesn't have all these nasty, I guess, horrible foods in him. I don't know, maybe he does.
Or he just had so much anxiety being there that he had to lift some weights. And then he went to go do something stupid, and then he got called out. And then he got drunk, was like, fuck it, but then he, like, had an epiphany and didn't do it. But then still got in trouble.
He thought, you know what he did? He didn't think about instant gratification. He thought about, you know, if I don't go and keep moving my way up, I'm eventually going to be made. I'm eventually going to be captain. I'm eventually going to be boss. And I think that's what's lost in America now is people don't want to do the, you know, graduate college, go get that low entry job, you know, do your fucking more time than you have to, work weekends, move your way up, and in 5 years you'll get promoted, and then within 10 years you'll be on this level, you know. People are just like, I want to be boss right now, and it's like, dude, you don't become boss. You know, you have to learn how to be boss, you know, through...
So it's showing, like, that show also structure how to become the boss, where, like, for him is, yeah, he could have sold the truck and then gotten money, what the other guy did, and then fucked up.
No,
So
I'm just saying he basically understood that hard work takes long time.
And learning versus
yeah, like instant gratification, where he could have sold the truck and got an instant gratification, but then he's not going to be made because he took a shortcut.
And that's how our society is now. It's all instant.
Yeah, and then these kids want to work.
That's why we're really kind of all fucked up.
Yeah. The next generations are just like, so there's some that want to work and understand.
But I mean, you can't really blame them at the same time because you're a product of society. So if you're a product of society, then you're taught that money is the answer, and then if you have a lot of money, then you could do shortcuts. I mean, think about it. If you have a lot of money, you go to the club, you could pay for the VIP. Boom, you get in fast. If you don't, you wait in line. They're showing you right there. Like, so you can't really blame them. I mean, you should have some morals like he did, but at the end of the day, it's pretty hard.
Or even like they showed in the episode where what's that guy's name?
Sorcasi?
Yeah, he like the celebrity basically pulls up and just gets to go in.
Yeah.
No, they all didn't care either. They all knew. It's like, yeah. Sorcasi doesn't wait. Let him in. You're the man.
But then before that, the chick's going before all the dudes, and they're all pissed off.
Yeah.
But that's also another brainwashing.
So either beauty and money.
Well, they're saying like the idols is okay, but yet you can still be mad at like normal people, but don't be mad at the gods or the false idols that walk around. Yeah. Even though they're doing the exact same shit. So yeah, I'm saying there's a lot of depth in each of these episodes, but you have to consciously like break it down and understand what you're watching. Or it just goes instantaneously, like that whole 40 minutes of the show is just like, what did I just watch? What you're getting brainwashed.
And not only that, but now with instant watch and instant gratification, now you could go to the next episode without even thinking about this one.
Yeah, you literally watched the whole all the seasons.
And not even know what you watched, because you watched them back to back.
And my whole point though, why I asked you if you felt like macho or something after watching it, 'cause that's how it kind of made me feel watching the show. I noticed like certain shows make you feel a certain way after you're done.
Well, that's
just think about if you just watch this whole thing and then like the next day you just feel like you're like fucking like a soprano or something.
Yeah, like when I watch Casino, I feel like fuck, like I'm on top of the world, like.
Yeah. So I think that's the trip of the real brainwashing of the themes of all these shows. So I guess I'll end the review with that. But that was Sopranos episode 2, season 1, I think it's called 46 long. I guess I was referring to the suits at the end. And then, yeah, so that's it. Today's date is February 11th, 2016. And Mike's out, Jay's out, and Fawn's out.